Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play and giving my channel a try. I hope you hit like, subscribe, feel free to ask questions, and let's just stitch together. And if you are a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for all of your support and for stitching with me and letting me ramble on and on about stitching. I have quite a bit to talk about today. I have a pile that I'm watching nervously because it's definitely not stacked a very secure way. So hopefully it doesn't all go flying. Before I started to show you my stitching though, I did want to tell you that yesterday, today's Friday morning, what is it, September 16th. Yesterday I uploaded a Scrap With Me #2 video. And after showing you all the different albums and so on in Scrap With Me #1, I totally changed my mind. And I'm going a different route for the album part. And I've narrowed down things like tape and all that. But I show you a video with the new albums, because I'm going to do various sizes, that I have chosen, and a little bit of some scrapbook shopping that I did. So if you look, it will just say Stitch With Me #2 if you would like to see that, if you're interested. Okay, stitching. I touched quite a few pieces. I wasn't sure I'd touch this many this week, but surprisingly I did. So let's get going with it. Okay, first one is on the iPad here. This is a pattern I started last year, and I am not sure it has seen any attention this year. So I definitely, especially now it's the season, so I definitely wanted to give it some love. This is from Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, and this is called Samhain in Salem. Now it's spelled, if you look up close, it's spelled, it looks like Samhain, but I'm almost sure it's Samhain. I think it is also, if I remember correctly though, it's charted also, you can say Halloween in Salem. I am debating on not doing any of the words and just extending that cool looking fence all the way across. I thought that would be kind of fun. So this is the second. So Julie put out I was going to put 3 fingers up with 4 seasons, 4 different sets of these trio of houses. And I've stitched her winter in Nantucket, I believe it was. This one is in Salem. And then she has spring might be Williamsburg and summer might be Cape Cod. I'm not 100% sure on that. I kind of was scrolling through this morning on her website to see this. I will link the website below. It's a Gumroad. So it's one of those sites where you can put $0 and then check out, or you can make a contribution of your choice and pay what you want with it. But you can put 0 if you choose to. It's really up to you. And she has a whole bunch of different patterns. I know she's taken some samplers and redone them as well. So it's just a fun little flip through of some of her stuff. But I had finished the winter in, I'm gonna have to pull it out one of these days and figure it out. It'll go in my scrapbook. And I had changed it up a little bit. I had put the houses a little bit closer, but I thoroughly enjoyed stitching it. It's just a lot of house. And so I think this went away for a little while because of that. But now that it's the season and we're getting into the middle of September, I said it's time to pull it out. So first, I want to show you far away the big piece of fabric. What I chose was an 18 count, and it's called Old Library Marble, and it's from Dove Stitch. It's a printed. Now I chose this one because I thought it would be kind of cool looking. I wanted something Halloween-y. I wasn't necessarily sure I wanted gray. Gray would work perfectly if you wanted to. It would look nice with those colors as well. So I thought this was kind of cool because with the different, I purposely tried to figure out which side to flip it so that I could I'll have some of this here and I'll have some of the printing, different design underneath the houses as well, depending on how far I cut it. I know, and I might have already cut the winter one, I cut it closer to the bottom of the houses and left up above because I used Nantucket sky. So maybe that's why I'm thinking Nantucket. It's winter. I can't remember where it's winter in for that pattern. But I wanted the fabric up there to show. Once I have the placement on this one, we'll see what I think. But let's fold it up for a minute because that's what I have. Now I am using all DMC. She has some colors, for example, I think the roof as well as the house, I know the house for sure because I was working on it recently, is a overdyed floss, but she has provided 2 colors of DMC that you just mix together, you blend, and can do it that way. So I am using all the DMCs, and that's where we are so far. It's fun. It's really nice. Excuse me. I have a habit of swallowing and talking at the same time. You can see the 3 different colors are radically different, but a lot of fun, and definitely kind of fall vibe-ish, New England-y vibes. So I will maybe not necessarily every week pick this up, but I do want to give this more attention. I'd really love to get at least this first house done before Halloween, just to kind of have a point, a goal to aim for with that. So that's that one. Now this one, I'm not necessarily having a goal every week on it, but I have very loose goals with this one. It's Forest from Satsuma Street. So that's kind of up close. This way is another way she shows it. I like that because you can see it. It was obviously done as a pillow. Lots of fun colors, different colors. I definitely associate this kind of with the autumn idea though, with the different reds and oranges. Now I finally cut this piece of fabric down. I had it folded over for ages. So that's the full effect. And let me bend you over because I'm only like, oh, it's 2 pretty much the same size kind of patterns. This is 18 count Friendship Green by Fabrics by Stephanie. And my goal, loose, very loose goal. When I pick it up for a given week stitching, I want to try to finish a tree. Well, this one was a gimme because it's small. So I did that, and then I did start this one. There's another big section here. There are 2 sections. This one's smaller. So this one will definitely need some more time. And then the tree next to that is huge. So next time I pick it up, if I can finish this and get this started, that's definitely by far the biggest. There are chunks of color in this interspersed with, you know, where you have to do the branches or things like that. So it's stop and start, but you can get some good chunks of color in as well, which is kind of nice. So that's where it is right now. A lot of fun. Again, I don't necessarily think I'm aiming for a finish before the end of this year or anything like that. It's pretty much intuitive on any given day what I feel like stitching. And I just kind of, that's probably not the right word. I go, I look, and then I flip through and I pick one that calls to me. So whether or not this will see more attention or enough attention to get a finish by the end of the year is anybody's guess. And something like this I'd probably put in my scrapbook. I don't think I'd necessarily display it, but I love it. I mean, I will have at some point, once I get, hopefully I'll be able to go to IKEA in a few weeks from now. I get a few more pieces of, not shelving, drawers. And then once I know where everything is, then I'll have Mo put the shelves up. And then I should be able to fully finish some things. But I'm only going to have X amount of space. So it's limited on any given time how much stuff I'd actually be able to show, which is why the scrapbook comes in so handy for me. All right, next. Here we go. It's flipped upside down. Now, if you remember, 10 days I'm giving to my full coverages. Yesterday was day 10 on Mini Peridot. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Rachel Anderson. And one of these days, I'm going to start getting into more of the color here. I'm still right now working on all of the framing of her. If you go to Heaven and Earth, if you just, for example, like the figures, not all of them have been I think she does it as people request, but quite a few of them have been done without the background. So you wouldn't necessarily need to stitch the whole background if you just wanted the figure. And some of them might be cropped to be almost a quick stitch, and it's more concentrated on the top part of the figure. I think those are called quick stitches, but I'm not 100% sure. You'd have to look under the Rachel Anderson section of Heaven and Earth. So there's different options, and I've never done it, but I mean, isn't there a certain day that you can request her to change some of these patterns if you want it a certain way? So that's an option if you love one, but it's not available yet. Here we go. 18 count white aida. It is 2 strands over 1 full cross. And this was a back and forth. I again filled in more. I really tried to do some more of the just stray stitches here and there. There's still quite a bit of them if they're showing up there. But in between, I picked some more longer stretches of color here. I started to come down a little bit here, and certainly down here there's a nice chunk of just 1 or 2 different symbols, so you can get some good stitching in. So I didn't do the full math on this in 10 days because I give it a little bit every day, short period of time every day for 10 days. It probably got 1,500 stitches. This one went slower than the last one I showed you because there is much more confetti in the parts where I am stitching. So while I try to hit 100 stitches on the full coverage when I pick it up for a day, there's a few days that I don't think I even got that far because I was really concentrating on just doing some fill-in. So this one will go away next. And I think I know what I'm picking up for this afternoon. We'll see. You'll know next week. Okay. I have a long stretch of digital patterns here at the beginning. And then it's more paper patterns. But this one, I've taken your suggestions to heart for Autumntown by Autumnland Stitchery. And my goal this week, if I can find it, was to finish this house in the corner. I know I'm probably not pointing very well. And I started the next one below it. So I'm going to, unless it's a giant tree like that one, I'm going to try to focus on a tree or house as I get farther down, maybe pumpkin, in the weeks that I pick it up so that I can see more progress. I don't know why I didn't cut this one while I was cutting forest, but I did not. And that's where it is. So if I just fold over for a minute, I was firmly in the section over here. So this house got done, and then quite a bit of that got done. And I think I'm maybe, I don't know, I think that was done. I thought about coming over here after I had finished this part, but then I said, let's just keep going with that house right there. So that's where I am with that. This is an 18 count fallen leaf from To Die For Fabrics. I think it's a wonderful color, and I think when just that background and it's cut down is showing, I think it's going to be really pretty. So that one is Autumntown. Now, I don't know if anybody has heard, I thought at some point I had heard kind of the rumor that they were going to stitch all four, or design, I should say, all 4 seasons. Has anybody heard anything about that? I'd be really curious to know if they're going to do 4 seasons of this town, so to speak. Curious. I think I would really enjoy that kind of series, and I would stitch them. Even though I've kind of hit a little bit of a bump in this one in my motivation a little bit. All right, I have a finish. I'm not going to show you the black and white digital cover sheet because it's done, so you don't need to see that. Ta-da! This is Springquaker from Jardin, Prive. And this is on an 18 count Dancing Queen from Fortnight Fabrics. And it is stitched in 823. It's all one color. I didn't add any bits or pieces of color at all. First off, love the fabric. This is my first finish on a Fortnight fabrics. I have Sailing Dreams is also on a Fortnight. And I'm trying to think if those are the only 2 projects so far that I've done on Fortnight. It is a wonderful aida to stitch on. I'm really enjoying it. I really enjoyed it, I should say, quite a bit. And really look forward to finding patterns for some of the other Fortnight fabrics I have, because it's just that perfect in between. It's not too stiff, but it's not too floppy soft. I really like it. So this week I had to focus on finishing up that element, just a little bit of border, and there we go. And I think, is it next week? Next week, the autumn piece, I think it's September 23rd, possibly, that the 3rd in the series of 4 will be released. And then I think the 4th is released in December. I do have summer, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I would be first in line to pick up autumn when it comes out. If you've thought about stitching theirs, they're a lot of fun, so much fun. All the little elements make it a lot of fun to stitch. You get little mini finishes. It's the same designer as Lady Halloween. I think I would like it because I loved Lady Halloween. So if you're thinking about it, and you could stitch them all as 4, they do provide the measurements of what that would look like with it, but you don't have to. So there we go. Springquaker. Yay, a finish. I started this, I know when I started this Mo's first day of physical therapy, because I remember back then he hadn't been given the okay to drive yet. So I had to take him, and I wanted a monochromatic piece. So this is the one. So that would have been probably near the end of June. So not too bad, considering I have all these projects on the go all the time. I think I liked it so much, and it's just a lot of fun to stitch when you just have that one color and you can just keep going with it. Okay, next. So thank you for your opinions on this one. I did go ahead and make a change. I probably could have changed it even more, but I think I'm going to be happy with it. So this pattern, if I bring it up close because it's a digital, you're just seeing the black and white. It's called Thanksgiving Quote with Sunflower. And I don't know if this would come up. Luba Davies Atelier is the designer. Now, just as a reminder, and feel free always to ask, of course, but in the description box below every single video, if you open it up, you will see first all of the projects I've stitched, and I give you the fabric name and any other pertinent information, the designer. If something like this is an Etsy store, I will link it. So if you look under Thanksgiving and Quote, this Etsy store will be linked. Now it'll take you generally to the front page of the store, but the title is usually in the description I've given, so it's easy enough to find. Same thing, for example, Hemlock and Rise Stitchery. I will link that in the description box, so you don't have to do Googling unless you want to. So just as a reminder, because sometimes I get questions, and again, I don't mind answering them at all. Please don't feel uncomfortable asking a question, but know that if you couldn't get a hold of me for some reason, all of the information, as much as I can. Sometimes the DMC color changes are not listed because I forget to write it down. If I can figure it out, I'll generally try, but that's in the description box. All right, here we go. Now this is an 18 count. It's called Dive In by Bestitchme. As soon as I saw this blue and as soon as I saw the pattern, I knew the two were to go together. So what I did change up, all the other colors are the same. This lettering was charted in 310. And I pulled out my little anchor skein. If you watched last week, you would have seen it. And I started the B in that. And it was just very stark. Now, I know somebody this morning said you could even change it even farther from 3371. And that's a very good point. I think I'm okay with it this way. So I think I'll keep it, but I probably could have gone even a softer brown. But this is 3371. So at its core, it does match the other browns, and it goes with the family of the yellows. So I'm looking at it. Yes, it's still a little bit dark, but I think it's going to be fine. So yes, 3371, and I know some of you had said in your comments that you like to make that change, 3371 instead of black 310 or anchor. And it makes sense because it's maybe quite not as harsh a dark, depending on what you need and what fabrics and what the surrounding colors are. So, and I would have to look at my DMC book. I'm not sure if I had gone a little bit lighter, what the next one would have been. I probably would have had to pick a couple and throw them up against all the other flosses. But I love this one. It is so much fun to stitch. And the quote, "Began each day with a grateful heart." I really like that. So I'm enjoying that. And this blue is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. I picked it up. Bestitchme every once in a while has, excuse me, extra fabrics, and she'll have them ready to ship. And this one happened to be in a ready to ship mode. Now, her stuff's pretty popular, so there's not always a lot of it available, if any. I just happened to get lucky one day. Every once in a while, I click that on, I check. I tried to dye 4 fabrics. I check what she's got. I had seen a couple 18 counts, and somebody else snagged them before I could get to them, but that's okay. I do like the ready to ship when they have them available, because then it's, if you have it in mind for a specific project, it's nice that you can get it started maybe a little bit quicker. Okay, we're taking a little current project break to show you. I did in between, before I started the next project this week, I decided I wanted to sit at my, not sit, my craft table is counter height. I've raised it up so I stand. And somebody was so nice. They said, "Do you stand your whole videos?" They felt bad. I actually have been crafting standing up for years and years and years. I prefer it. It's better on my neck and my back in the long run. I'm a little stiff and have to stretch out after doing a video, but for the most part, I feel better rather than sitting through the videos. But my craft table, I put it up so that it is more like a counter, and it's just the nice height for me. So I did stand at it, and I fully finished another artist trading card. If you remember, I had accidentally stitched the lighthouse from the Summer Sign series from Twin Peaks Primitives. Well, I had stitched it, not accidentally, but I had put it in the wrong spot, so I wasn't going to be able to stitch the whole piece. So I cut it out, and there we go. I'm just calling this, I couldn't think of another word. I really wanted, and I asked Mo for a synonym, and he kept throwing out words that wasn't giving me what I wanted, but it's secluded lighthouse. I wanted something, secluded didn't quite cover what I wanted, but it worked as best I could. So in this case, instead of doing like I did with the, I had like the beach huts, right? That one, the very first artist trading card I did a finish with me with, I believe I had used the white cardstock, and I inked up the sky. For this one, I kind of wanted the sky as the entire back area. So I used just a blue cardstock, and I did mask off and stamp just a few of the birds to show them flying around. And then I tried to match up as best I could the floss color, that's the little grass under the lighthouse, with a little bit of cardstock. And I ripped it. I really always I like that look of the ripped cardstock, especially for a landscape. And that's what we have. So this is called Secluded Lighthouse, and it is a finish. I think next week I'm going to have another one finished, and I'm super excited. I think it's super cute. And then I have some stitched, and I don't know how I'm finishing them yet. I've got a little brain kind of block, but hopefully I'll work through that. Okay, so moving on. Every week for, I don't know how long now, probably most of the summer, I have been tackling my Halloween calendar project from Tiny Modernist. I decided, I don't know, I probably started this last year. I decided I didn't want to stitch it as a full piece. I wanted to stitch each day separately. And finally, Finally, we are so close. This week, you're going to see day 29. That one was a pretty easy one. The ghost, while it is mostly white, there is ecru in the bottom of it as well. And I did change, because I did black fabric, you'll see in a minute, that color floss kind of blended in a little bit too much. And I had just done a light purple not that long ago, because I would have maybe done that. So I went more with the kind of funky green. Let's see. There we go. There he is. So day 29. And just 18 count black fabric. That's the last of the black fabric that I'll do. I have just day 30 and 31, and that's it. So that one will probably get haunting, and that one most likely will get whatever that denimish blue is called, Midnight Tryst. And that'll be it. So we're very close to a finish. I wavered the last couple weeks. I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll just take a break. But I'm so close to the finish and getting that part, the stitching part of the project done, that I pretty much said, nope, you got to do it, Laura. You got to do it. So I'll just buckle down. I mean, day 31. I mean, it's the number in the word boo with some surrounding. That'll be easy. This guy may have a bunch of colors, but it'll be fine. I can't stop now. So that would get me right at the beginning of October, I think, because next weekend's probably the last weekend in September, and we'll just start October when I'm finished. I'm not going to rush to get it displayed for any type of Halloween. I do want to finish them as like little ornament-y type of things, but I have to figure out what I want to do. You know, they're small. If I want to do a backing, if I want to change that, I haven't figured that out yet. So that's coming. Okay, so I had finished last week. I have been doing so good so far. I've been stitching just the stitching part. And, you know, this week I did get the fully finish on one of the ATCs, the artist trading cards. But each week I've been picking something to stitch and getting it done. So if you've thought about sending and you weren't sure if I was getting inundated, I'm doing pretty good. So feel free to decide to send with me if you want to trade. And I know there's at least one person that sent me that said if anybody else would like to trade. So I'm going to try to figure out at some point if we can have, whether it's an actual swap, I've never done one of those, or if we have some sort of trading list. I don't know. I'll figure that out probably. I don't know if I'll be able to do that through the holidays. We'll see what life is like. But at some point, that's coming down the road. If you're interested, I am really, really enjoying them. And for this week, I have loved this pattern. This is Shakespeare's Peddlar, and it's called Antique Scissors and Spools. I want to say all the years are blending together. I want to say last year, but it could have been the year before at this point. I stitched the locks and keys. Absolutely loved it. And so I know I picked this one up. I'm looking at the ones on the back. I might have the teacups. I'm not sure. I don't know. And I don't know if there's any more since this one came out. But I adore this. I loved it so much. And so I said, I want to stitch. I thought that would be kind of cool, right? A stitched artist trading card with stitching scissors, right? And I originally looked at, of course, I had to do the stork. So I counted him out, and he's just about on 18 count. 8 to 10 stitches within my stitched amount. So I was like, yes. So I stitched him first, and then I realized he's kind of skinny. And rather than, I could just do cutting him out on an outline like I did the lighthouse. I didn't necessarily, I wasn't feeling that. It wasn't where I wanted to go. So above the little stork, there were 2 more scissors that I was able to stitch, and it just fits within, you know, there's just a couple of squares on each side, so it'll be pretty tight. So I don't know exactly how I'll fully finish this one, because it'll be pretty much the size of the card itself. But I love it. And now I really, really, really want to stitch the full thing for myself. I absolutely adored stitching. And it would be kind of cute too. Like I could have picked this spool with this. I mean, you can mix and match. I mean, these three happen to be right around each other, so it was perfect in the pattern, but I could have counted and done others somehow or other. Now this is just an 18 count blue fabric. I can show you. A stitchy friend, I think, had extra 18 count at one point. This is Charles Craft, and sent me, I said, you know, would you be interested in, I'm very grateful. I love this. So I was able to use some fabric scent and do a nice little, a little stitch. And I think I have enough of this. I may stitch the full one. This is just Anchor Black. I might stitch the full design on this blue. Yeah, it's more blue than gray. On this blue and do it with the black. I know the locks and keys, I am almost sure that that one was done on a gray, but this is definitely blue. So yeah. So the full finish, we'll see. I'm not sure where this one's going yet, but I'm super excited to, I'll interface it and cut it down, and then I'll figure out from there what I want to do with it. Once I can, sometimes seeing it like this, unless I have a specific vision, I don't know where I want to go with it. I mean, the lighthouse, once I cut it out, I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and to have it just more as a little scene. That one, especially because it's the full size, we'll see. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear. Okay, next. Next is, this is part of the hashtag BBD Midnight Watch SAL, Stitch Along. That Sarah Stitches and I, we both decided that we wanted to stitch this in, we figured out, let's do it in September. And Sarah has got a little start on hers, and she said she's filming, I think this weekend, yay! So we'll get to see a video of that. And I got not a ton done on this, but I did put some stitches into it because I did want to do that. And I stitched and then took out. So I want to show you up close. My plan, if you are new, is just to stitch this inside piece. No alphabet, no border. So it's just this. I love this. I love the cat in the moon. And then, you know, all the other stuff going with it. Now, I decided I wanted to try to add, I had started the cat in the moon, and I wanted to try a little bit of the greenery. I'm going to show you, if I can pull it out, the color. It's charted in overdyes, and then they give you DMC alternatives. And in case of the moon, for example, it's a blend of 2 different DMCs, which I think overall will be nice looking, actually. I'm enjoying the color of it right now. But the DMC suggested for the main green portion of this plant, for want of a better word, didn't work with my fabric at all. And quite honestly, didn't, I mean, because with the overdyed flosses, depending on which part of the floss or how much variation or variegation there is in that particular skein, sometimes they look completely different. So I get it. Sometimes the DMC alternative may be a different looking color than what you see in the picture. So I did a little bit of experimenting on my own, and I came up with a change. Let me show you the full thing first. Yes, I went purple, and I went deep dark purple. This is 18 count Bewitched from To Die For Fabrics. Let me come up close. So that moon is 2 shades. One, a kind of a nice, mild, sunny yellow, along with a very light brownish beige. So it's a nice combo. The cat itself, I want to say, this is one of those cases. Let me see real quick. Yeah, it's 3371. So the cat itself is not stitched in black. It's stitched in the 3371. So, let's see if I can find, nope, that's not it. Must be this one. Of course, that's not it either. That's the same color. Oh, there it is. That must be it. Yes, okay. So the greenery that you see here was charted DMC in 730. Now, in theory, you'd think, okay, that might be dark enough to show up. It was not so dark as, say, the 337 that could stand up on its own. This one blended in quite a bit. And I decided I wasn't quite loving that shade. And I happen to have, because when I work on my full coverages, the colors I use quite a bit, I leave them out for the week so they don't have to keep taking them in and out. So sitting next to me was all sorts of different shades of greens, grayish greens, brownish greens, all those greens in mini Peridot. And I pulled a couple and I said, oh, this one looks kind of nice. So I pulled out 523. And when I looked at the picture, this one kind of went a little bit better. It goes quite nice with the purple. And then it goes nicely. I put it up against, these are two of the three other colors you'll see within that plant kind of fixture. So I did a complete change. I will make sure, if you're interested in changing, I will have the information of the change down below. So far, that looks to be the only change in color that I need in floss that I need to make. Everything else is showing up really nice. Close to the house, oh, how that happens sometimes, my hair was pulling through the hole and I was like pulling my hair. There is another closest to the house, a darker blue, not blue, green, that I might have to change out to. But what I did was I took out my DMC. I love this. I love this. I've said this many a time, but I know 123 Stitch has it. I know other places have it. It has been, I can't tell you how much I've used this. And it is it's the one with the floss. So it's got all the colors and it's got all the kind of floss on it. I went to this and I went to the area that had both the 523 and the 730. And amazingly, they were the same line. So they were clearly, as far as I could tell, along the same kind of, I don't want to say family necessarily, but along that area. So I felt a lot better about my choice, and so helpful, so helpful. So I'm happy with that. I think it'll look good with that. I'm just going to do this before I knock over everything over there. I think it will go well with that third shade that I haven't gotten to yet. So I went back and forth. I did actually mostly moon. I don't think I did any cat this week. And then I stitched, had to rip it out, find a new color, and then stitch that part. And I'll go back and forth because this moon and cat, they're no joke. They're going to be a huge part of this. So I'll stitch some of that and then go here and slowly work my way down. So that's Midnight Watch. And if you have it and have thought about stitching it, jump in on with the hashtag so that Sarah and I can see what you're doing. All right, last one. And I need my iPad for this one. I was watching Rachel Q Stitches, and she was talking about one of her pieces, super fun piece that she's doing as a 25/7 project. And she was talking about, there's a Facebook page that was started that you could post, and she's been posting an album of her piece with the 25/7. I joined the Facebook group. I haven't taken any pictures yet. You know how bad I am at that. Social media in general, I've not excelled at that. But I decided which piece I wanted to make my 25/7, and so I'll work on it until it's finished. It's close enough to a finish. It'll take a little bit, especially if I keep it just to 25 minutes a day. We'll see on that because I enjoy stitching it. But I will keep this one. I know some people will for a specific month do a project for 25/7 and then change the next month, but this guy is close enough, and I'd like to get him done. So this is Colorful Dog from Wonderland, Ukraine. And if we show you here, I am pretty much halfway done. And I have some of the top on this side. So I wouldn't say 2/3, but definitely more than half. And here he is. So this is 18 count Honeydew Melon. And it's from To Die For Fabrics. Now, I just decided to do this. Rachel films on Tuesdays, So I watched her video Tuesday afternoon, and then I was thinking about it. So Wednesday and Thursday, I've only done 2 days of 25/7 stitching. So I got a little bit down here and then a little bit over here. But I think if I do a little bit each and every day, I could make progress pretty quick. There are some areas that have a lot of color changes and then other areas where you can just kind of zip through. I love it. I know it's any dog, but in my mind, I'm seeing Shamrock emerge from this, and he's reminding me of that. So I so enjoy stitching this. Yeah, so that's my new adventure, is to try the 25/7. And it's been fun to see. I just did a little bit on the Facebook group. And it was fun to see what people are stitching or choosing. And I haven't really immersed myself, I should say, into it. Because again, me and social media. I will never, I guess you should never say never, but I don't necessarily see myself as being a really good content creator on social media. All right, plans. I don't have many. I will stitch on Shamrock. It's called Colorful Dog, but in my mind it's Shamrock. I'll stitch on Shamrock 25/7. And then now that I've finished Springquaker, I would like to start Summer Quaker. This one I happened to buy. I did buy the physical pattern, not the digital. So that's what it looks like. Again, if you wanted to see, that's what all 4 will look like. They are charted in 4 different colors. That's what, if you stitch them all together, there's like a little bit of break in between each one. This one, she just gave it as an option 8/15, or it says, or the color of your choice. I'm going to stitch all 4, if you're new, on 8/23 and just change out fabric colors. And this is the fabric color. Let me take it off of its board that I've been holding on. This is the color I'm going to do. I don't know. We'll have to see. I see orange around the edges. Yeah, it's mostly over here. There's a bit of an orange tinge. Maybe I'll use that part as well, or if I'll just do more of just the straight orange. Because, I mean, over here, it's a beautiful mix, but that's a border. This is called My Sunshine, 18 count from Bestitchme. And it was a fabric of the month. Does it say? No, it doesn't say which month it was. It would have to be, I would sometime in the summer, I'd say, and a few months now, because I've had this option. Excuse me. All this talking. I've had this option for a while. So this pattern in the 8/23, the deep navy on this fabric. Will I start it this week? Maybe. I don't know. I'm super excited too, because I really enjoyed having a monochromatic on the go. And that's it. That's the plan-ish, along with whatever I happen to be wanting to do. I'm pretty sure I'll have an artist trading card finish for you next week to show you. I don't know, now that I've planned out my scrapbook, I can start delving into that a little bit more. So lots of fun crafting stuff to do. I got an email from somebody, so I got a little happy mail that I wanted to share, because she said if anybody else is interested, I feel free for me to pass it along. Sophia is a stitcher and reached out to me and said she had just done a quick Mandala, I think it is. And it's kind of snowflakey, which is kind of cool, so for the season. And she asked me if I would be interested in it. And she sent it along to me. Let me do this. Isn't that wonderful? It's a cute little 50 by 50 square. And she had sent me a couple pictures. She had stitched it twice. One in a variegated floss and then one in a straight color. I think it'd be super fun either way. If you wanted to do variegated, you know me, I either would choose a fun color and do it in a light shade, or choose a paler color and do it in a darker floss. I don't know yet. You could do it different ways, times, create some sort of design. A lot of fun. So Sophia has said all she's asked is that nobody takes it and tries to sell it. So if anybody is interested, if you sent me a message on Gmail, I would be happy to forward this on to you. So thank you, Sophia. That was really nice of you. All right, so shopping. I have a little bit, and I have a little bit that's my regular shopping, and then just a couple things. I showed you in my scrap with me both the scrapbooks and some of the pattern papers and supplies that I had gotten for the scrapbook, so I'm not going to re-show that. That was in yesterday's video. So the few things I have here. First off, I have seen several times people talking about suture scissors for frogging when you need to take stuff out. And I finally said, after the last time I had to pick out things, that I absolutely wanted to get some. So what's cool is one side has kind of that little curve, and people say it works really well to get underneath the stitches. I looked on Amazon. I basically just put in suture scissors, and I think this was $5.99, and it got a lot of good reviews. So I said, all right, I'll give it a try. So I picked that up, and that came in, and I will let you know next time. Let's hope it's not too soon, but next time I have to pull out some stitches, I'll let you know how it worked for me. And if somebody else uses it as well, I'd love to hear about your experiences with it. I'm not going to bother putting it back in the container. Then the next thing I got, and I want to show you her lovely, lovely card. I was looking for ways to finish, you know, the 2x2 stitch art piece of Northern Lights. I was going to say Northern Exposure. That was a TV show a long time ago, right? Northern Lights, I think it's called. And given that it was a circle and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I decided I did want to go the hoop route. And I know, and I can't remember who it would have been. Somebody had mentioned that there are hoops, for example, wrapped in ribbon on Etsy and so on and so forth. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. First, I flirted with the idea of making it myself. But then by the time I buy everything, especially because they're not super expensive on Etsy, I'd have all this stuff. This is truly a case where I'd rather support another small crafter rather than trying to get it all myself. So I went away from the ribbon to a stained hoop, and Jessica Rose Stitchery, let me put this, look at that. Look at the beautiful rose that's attached to her piece or her card. She has stained hoops. She also has some finished cross-stitch pieces, and I don't know, there might be a pattern or two on there as well, but I think her main thing is the stained hoops. And so if you remember, the piece that I stitched was deep navy blues, blacks on the outside, and then on the inside had all the different shades. So I decided that I wanted to get one. I ended up with getting, I think it was called, it's either a dark charcoal or an ebony, one of those kind of. I debated because there was kind of a blue, but I really wanted it dark, and I thought this one would work better. So that's what I ended up with. So that's that, and then you can see from the side. And it is wonderfully done. The staining looks lovely. Again, for me to do this, and the prices were not, it was free shipping to boot, and the prices were not anything that made me say, oh, maybe I can just do it myself. She's very affordable, I thought, for being able to go through, do all that and save me the trouble of it. And I reached out to her because I had measured the piece, and I've never finished in a hoop before. So if you know of any tips, tricks, or suggestions, please let me know so that I don't do it. I don't want to ruin, after all that stitching, I don't want to ruin it. So anything you can, wisdom you can impart, I would love to hear it. I reached out to her. I said, okay, this is the size of the piece. I wanted to finish it in a hoop tight, you know, so there really wasn't much edge showing. And this is what I was looking at buying. And she was wonderful. She responded very quickly within that day, within a few hours most, I think. And she had said, this, because she has beech wood, which is what I was looking at. And then there's a different type of white wood that she has, which is what I ended up with. She said the beech wood is not quite, it's slightly bigger than what they they say. So if it's 7-inch, 8-inch, whatever, it's slightly larger. I would suggest you go with this instead, because that is very true to size. And this was cheaper than the one I was asking about. So she wasn't trying to upsell me on anything. She was very honest about what she thought would be best, which I appreciated as well. So I've got another adventure to try to finish in a hoop this week. So again, let me know if there's anything I should know ahead of time. Excuse me. So that was that. I purchased that. And then the last thing that I picked up was I was watching Bird's Eye Stitches, Robin. Robin's finally back. I know she's had a lot, and I don't want her to feel, I'm just so happy you're back. Let's just put it that way. I love your stitching. She's got the most adorable little puppy, and it's a Havanese, which is what Shamrock was. So that kind of makes me happy. And so she showed the dog at the end of the last video, and so on and so forth. But she's back, and she has very often, when she gets some of her supplies, she gets them from Garand Stitchery. And I've never shopped from them before, but I've always heard about people saying how quick and fast they are. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go over there and check some stuff out. And so I picked up some. I was watching one of their videos around that had talked about Expo, and what they did was they had pre-orders, and they had ordered then some extras of some of the patterns, because I didn't do any pre-ordering. So I picked up some patterns that had come out at Expo that they had extra of. As soon as I saw these first two, I thought they were the cutest things. Silver Creek samplers. This one is Kringle Flying Academy. How cute is that? I love that. And what's kind of cool is both of these samples, I believe, are stitched on Aida, which is really kind of cool, because nothing's ever stitched on Aida anymore. So I liked it, especially because I want to say they're 18. So if I did, and you know, it's a big, although I do like this gray, it's a big if that I would go with the fabric that the model was stitched on. But I do like this one. It actually would look like that because it is the fabric and count that I use. So I picked up that one, and then I picked up Mary Router's spelling lesson. I thought that was adorable. So I got those two, and then I picked up, I've never stitched anything by this designer before. It's Frony Ritter, and it is Celtic Pumpkin. Now, this is a stretch for me because there are a ton of beads on this. All of that Celtic design there is all beaded, and then there's 3 different shades of like oranges and yellows. So let me look at it a second. Oh yeah, and then there's like a yellow that goes here. So there's a lot of beading. So this will be a new adventure for me, but I loved it. You know, we have Irish heritage. My mom is directly from Ireland. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are both directly from Ireland. So obviously anything Celtic we enjoy. And then I love fall. 2 years ago, I didn't do it last year for my birthday, but 2 years ago, because my birthday's in October, I did a pumpkin birthday sal stitch along. And it was, you could stitch anything that had a pumpkin color, had anything adjacent to pumpkin. You know, it was very loose and whatever. So I don't know. I was thinking maybe I'd do that again this year. And if I do, this would definitely be a start. Do you have anything pumpkin that you'd want to stitch along with me? Let me know. If there is, maybe we'll do a pumpkin birthday sal. So anyway, I picked that up. Totally new designer for me, which is a lot of fun. And then one more piece I picked up. This one, I was waiting for it to come out. I was watching Carolyn Zook, C Zook. Is it C Zook Stitch, or is it just C Zook? I don't know. I'll link her down below. And Carolyn was talking about how Jan Hicks had created this after Carolyn had suggested the design, and it's called Carolyn's Balloons. And this is the autumn version. There's going to be 4 seasons of these. I am clearly loving this whole 4-season vibe because there's several projects I have on the go that will be all 4 seasons. But I saw Carolyn she's stitching this, and obviously she started it before it formally came out because she had the pattern ahead of time. And I love the colors. I'm envisioning some sort of light blue, so it looks like they're outside. I have to grab, I don't have the flosses yet. I'll have to grab it. I don't even know what it's charted in. I'm not sure. No, I can't see here. I'll grab the flosses. I'm sure there's a DMC alternative. I know the other Jan Hicks, which is charted in Cosmo, she had a DMC alternative. But I'll grab them. I'll throw them on some blues. But that's what I envisioned, is, and not a strong blue, but a lighter blue, I think. I think that'll look really nice. So that could be a start. There's pumpkin color on this, so technically this could be an October start too if I wanted to do the pumpkin birthday. Again, like I said, very loose interpretation of that whole hashtag. Anyway, so that was it. That's what I picked up, and yeah, that's really, I didn't pre-order. I don't generally pre-order. I wait till everything comes out so that I can see what's out, what really calls to me, because I'll see something and then I'm like, I love it, I love it. And then a month or two later, I'm kind of like, well, I like it, but there are other things I'd rather spend my time stitching. But these I thought were cute, and I wanted to support another. I hadn't bought from them before, and I wanted to support a small stitcher, so that's what I did. All right, so that's the shopping. That's it. We're done with that. Okay, giveaway. So, speaking of pumpkins, there are pumpkins on this guy. This is this week's giveaway. It's the Halloween cat from Satsuma Street. This is a pass the stash. So I have stitched this exact pattern. I don't write in the pattern, so there's a few little things on the edges, but otherwise it's fine, easily read. So I asked you to say the word spooky, and mix around the names. Our winner for this is, oh, oops. Who is it? Sticks and Strings and Other Things. Congratulations, you have won. So if you could get back to me with your address, I will send this out to you. Congratulations. So I'll leave that on top, and I will put this back over here, put that on top. So this week, rather than something physical, and I think I can set the amount, I thought I would do a gift certificate. You get it a little faster that way. And right now, with all of the new fun stuff out, maybe you've wanted to get something and you just haven't done so at this point. I really enjoyed stitching at Garand Stitchery, so I'd like to offer a gift certificate. I'm going to do a $10 gift certificate. If some places they regulate what it is, so if I can't do that, I will go up to whatever level they do allow me to do. I would never go below that, but I would like to offer a $10 gift certificate to Garand Stitchery for this week's giveaway. And if you get it, you gotta let me know what you buy. That's the one thing. I love, love, love hearing about what people choose when they go stitch somewhere. So, what to say? You know what? Because of this beautiful purple rose on the Jessica Rose Stitchery card, say the word rose, R-O-S-E. And I will put your name into the blue bowl giveaway for the gift certificate from Garand Stitchery. Okay, that's all the stitching stuff. So if you're heading off, have a fabulous week, and hopefully we'll be seeing you next week. All right, so life stuff. What went on this week? Clearly, really, really fun stuff. We did make another trip. We went to the beach again, and this time we remembered to bring chairs. The other time we were kind of like, let's just stop by because it's so close, and we forgot everything. I said we need a go bag, so that a beach go bag. So whenever we go, I can, and just keep it in the garage and just grab, and then obviously replace it if, I use towels or whatever, but I have sunscreen in there, the whole bit, and just be able to grab it and go, because I had chairs, but then that was all I remembered this time. But we grabbed some chairs. It was a beautiful day, almost a little chilly because it was windy at the beach. As soon as you went over the dune area back to the parking, there was no wind at all. But it was beautiful. We sat out half an hour, 45 minutes, just one day after Mo had finished work. I don't know if it was, so it might have been Friday. I don't think it was Saturday. It might have been last Friday afternoon. And then we like to do lately, because, you know, obviously it's still kind of busy within town. We do one of the state parks that's right next to Rehoboth. And then we went into Rehoboth, the main area, to just walk around because it's a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun shops and this and that. And we are trying to, we've only full-time been in this house since the end of March. So that's our excuse. We've had the house a little bit longer than that, but just weren't able to move in full-time. But our walls are pretty empty. So we like to look around and find some stuff. It's not going to be stitching. I know you're all saying, well, you stitch all this stuff, you can put it on the wall. It's really not my husband's vibe for decor, and a lot of this stuff wouldn't kind of fit the kind of beachy decor anyway. So all of my stitching is contained within my craft room here. But anyway, we went into, there's a cute little shop, and they have like little tables that we've gotten. We have a really cute one in our bedroom that's a round one, and it's kind of stained at top, and it has like a more metal bottom that has like a compass kind of design. It's very pretty, and it's, you know, nice small in our bedroom. And so we like to go in there. We've never bought any of their lamps. They have all sorts of kind of fun and funky lamps and things like that. And they also have different type of art from artists. And this one was painted, it's just painted on almost like a crate, so to speak, but it was really cute. It's not super big, but it's ocean with the little, you know, we call them sandpipers. I'm not sure if that's what it is. What are the little birds that, they're adorable. They run up to where the water is, and then as soon as the wave comes in, they all go scurrying back, and then they run back up again. It was funny because we were sitting at the beach before we went into town, and we were saying, oh, there's none of those out there. My most vivid memories of them, more so than Maine, are in Newport. Second Beach at Newport, when Mo and I would go in October every year for a long weekend. We'd go to Second Beach, kind of, again, there's some rocks you can sit on, and it was just a lot of fun, and I love that area. And I just remember all the little, I'm calling them sandpipers. So as soon as we saw this, we got to the store, and it was right in the front window, and we both just kind of laughed, like we literally had just been talking about these little birds and what a great memory we have of it. So we picked that up. We didn't find anything else. It's slow going. If you watch yesterday's video, you'll know I talked about the fact that we overthink things a lot, and that comes to decor as well. But that one it was a no-brainer. As soon as we both saw it, we said we have to have it, and it wasn't super expensive, which was nice. So, and he's already got it hung up it's in like the front when you first walk in. There's just a little foyer-ish, nothing fancy. And again, there's a little wall that we put it right up there. The colors match perfectly. The size is perfect. It was meant to be. So that was fun. We really enjoyed that. And then, what else did we do? I can't say that there's been a lot since. No, there hasn't been a lot since. It's been quiet. It's been quiet. So that's all right. I think there was something Mo wanted to do, but he's not quite ready physically with his foot, his ankle, his Achilles, whatever. It was something that needed more balance. That's the one thing with his physical therapy, because he does his exercises at home. He's got a lot of different balance kind of work, you know, that he has to do. And he's struggling with that a little bit. I'm sure it'll come. Everything else has been fine. They've really upped his levels of what he does, and you know, he's been cleared for like the bike and the elliptical, so he's really trying to, just not cleared for running, so he's trying to up that, and that seems to be going well, but the balance seems to be escaping him. I'm like, oh, I can fall over my own feet in a shadow pretty much, because I'm just head in the clouds all the time. So I work on balance. I try to do a little bit every day. So I'm like, okay, we'll do this. And I actually was able to do the one he couldn't do. I was like, because he's physically, and my body's broken down from years of physical activity when I was young. So I can't do as much anymore. And it's usually him that's better at things. I was like, I'm better than you at that. It's the little things sometimes that are just silly, right? But there was something else I did this week, and I don't know. Apparently I need to write little notes or something or other. For the first time this morning, I woke up and I put on a sweatshirt for a little while. It was chilly. Now, I woke up at 4 a.m. Mind you, my imagination, I can't watch things that are too, and I still do. I watch things that my imagination then can make scary. And I had a nightmare that woke me up, and I was completely, I couldn't, sometimes, when you remember these things when you wake up, it's hard to let them go. It kind of keeps playing in your brain a little bit. My imagination likes to then kind of spin the story. So I woke up at 4, and I think a little after 5, I just got up because I was like, this is silly. I'm just laying here. But it was chilly. It was actually a little chilly getting up, which I don't mind a little bit, but I don't like that whole idea about winter coming. Least favorite of my seasons. But it comes, right? Seasons change. So anyway, I guess that's it, because whatever it was that I did, for the life of me, is escaping me at this point. And I know I had something specific that I had to go to. Oh well, whatever. So maybe if I can decide on a hairdresser, you might see my hair a little different next week. We'll see. I don't know how easily it'll get to appointment. Now that it's off season, maybe it'll be a little bit easier. Not a lot of drop-ins, possibly. I don't know. Would people actually go to the hairdresser though when they're on vacation? Probably not. So that sounds kind of silly actually when I say it. So we'll see. We'll see how hard it is to get into to see somebody. But one of these days I'm going to come to you and my hair is going to look radically different, because it hasn't been cut in ages and it desperately needs a cut. But that's it. That's all I got. I hope you got a lot of stitching in. Hopefully this will upload. Last week it uploaded within an hour, which I consider lightning speed, frankly, as opposed to 25 hours the week before. So we have no idea if you'll see this on Friday or Saturday, but whatever day you see it, I hope you got lots of stitching in whenever you happen to be watching it. I hope you're well, I hope you are safe, and I hope you are enjoying either the follow-up into autumn, or some of you are leaving winter and following into spring. So I hope you have some lovely spring weather coming up as well, depending. So until next time, happy stitching.